So lots of people say that when it says in the Bible to get out of Babylon, that it's a spiritual thing only. I totally agree that it's spiritual, but I disagree that it's spiritual only. Look at these scriptures. It says in Jeremiah 50 and chapter 50 and chapter 51, and in Revelation 18, it's speaking about Babylon. And in a few other places it is too. You can see that in some of my other videos. But in Jeremiah 50 and verse 8, it says, "Move from the midst of Babylon, get out of the land of the Chaldeans." And then it says in verse 16 in the second half, "Everyone shall turn to his own people, and everyone shall flee to his own land." And then in Jeremiah 51, chapter 51, and in verse 6, it says, "Flee from the midst of Babylon, and everyone save his life. Do not be cut off in her iniquity." Flee from the midst of Babylon. Does that sound spiritual only? This is the word of Yahweh, our Father in heaven, telling us, warning us, because He loves us. But He's telling us something that we need to do. Do we take this as seriously as we take all other words in the Bible that He tells us to do? And you might say this is in the Old Testament. Well, I'm going to show you in the New Testament, He says the very same words in the New Testament, speaking about end times Babylon. So this isn't something that's lost in history, something that happened, that it's in Iraq or Mesopotamia. Whatever you think Babylon is, you need to find out what it is to get out of it, and not just spiritually as some people are telling you. Because these words are clear. Flee from the midst of Babylon. If it were just spiritually, it'd say, don't be part of Babylon. Don't be part of the way they act and think and what they say and do. It says that too. But here it says, flee from the midst of Babylon, the actual place. And throughout all of Jeremiah 50 and 51, see, it says that it's a land, it's a country, it's a nation, it's powerful. Of course, it says all the negative stuff too. It's arrogant, and it goes and destroys. It's the hammer of the whole earth. Then it says in Jeremiah 51 and verse 45, "My people, go out of the midst of her, and let everyone deliver himself from the fierce anger of Yahweh." So go out of the midst of her. It's saying get out of the middle of her. Get out of that country. Leave it. There's definite urgency there. Now let's look at in Revelation 18:4, the last verse that I'm going to mention here. In Revelation 18:4, it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, 'Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her sins, and lest you receive of her plagues.'" This "lest" is so that you don't. Let me read that again. "Come out of her, my people, so that you don't share in her sins, and so that you don't receive of her plagues." So by staying in Babylon, whether you think you're not part of it spiritually or not, you're part of its sins. And by staying in Babylon, you're going to receive its plagues. It doesn't mean that the rest of the world is going to be safe, or that we're safe when we leave. But the point is, do you want to obey what your Heavenly Father tells you to do, or do you want to ignore it and just push it to the side like most people do with Bible verses and ignore it?